Now, if you're over the age of 7 and someone says the word Ferrari, this is probably what you think about. But in reality, that's very much the polar opposite, because actually, this is what Ferrari genuinely looks like today. Ferrari has this special ability that turns good drivers, championship-winning drivers, crumbles every single last one of their dreams, and turns them hella depressed, which for some is unrecoverable, and they end up in a downward spiral in a very, very dark place. Which I guess all of this is quite similar to every single Mercedes and Alpine fan this year, because those teams have fallen from grace harder than Ferrari, and Ferrari, well, that's quite difficult to do, knowing their whole prime like 20 years back, and now look at them. Pathetic. But I guess so is Mercedes and Alpine, so it's not just Ferrari. So today, let's look at the drivers that Ferrari has screwed over, picked them up and then ruined their careers, kicked them to the curbs, disrespected them, spat on them. With Lewis Hamilton joining Ferrari in 2025, will he be another victim of the Ferrari cuck machine, or will he thrive and survive? Kind of the polar opposite to what's been happening at Mercedes over the last couple years. Or will he fail and get booted, just like many drivers have done in the past? But that is a question for another video, so put it down in the comments. Do you think Hamilton will succeed? And if not, well, career over, GG, on to the next life. Subscribe and like to help you boy out. Yay. Well, I think it's best we start with the whole glory days of Formula 1, back when they didn't have literal pieces of broccoli controlling and managing their whole team. Back when the race strategists actually looked like gigachads carved out of stone by a chisel, by a literal genius. And now they look like clowns, and act like clowns because their strategies haven't been good at all. And of course, back when they could actually fight for championships, wins, podiums, week in and week out, because clearly today that is not the case. Unless you get a weight reduction like Carlos Sainz, then I guess it might be sometimes possible. In reality, every driver past, 2007 and onwards has been screwed over by Ferrari one way or another. Michael Schumacher, let's be real, he was screwed over kind of, maybe it was his fault in 5 and 6, but he really did thrive at his prime at Ferrari, so I guess there's some leniency there, because he is pretty much the last driver who hadn't been disrespected by Ferrari's the opposite of master plan. And that was quite some time ago. The dinosaurs were rumored to still be walking around at that time. So that just shows you very, very long time ago. You see, Schumacher won back-to-back championships, and it was all good until 05 and 06 came, where he got slapped up by a young shot. What was his name? Fernando Alonso. I think we've all heard his name 1 or 2 or maybe 3 times in our whole lifetime. Or more, because, yeah. Well, after those seasons, Schumacher said to himself, I can't be arsed, I'm a bit washed, maybe. So he hung up his boots and he called it a day. And ever since then, every other driver in Ferrari has been pummeled into the ground like a Cherokee drum. Ferrari's championship hopes ever since that day, pretty much, have been slimmer than Alpine's winning the championship this season. And that's not happening because they've attended the track with a tractor every single race so far. Honestly, I don't know how it's possible, but it somehow has happened. Ferrari, the biggest team of Formula 1, the oldest team of Formula 1, has tumbled down and 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 down. Ferrari's starts to Formula 1 seasons are kind of bipolar like Jekyll and Hyde. They can either be very, very good,
Charles Leclerc wins the Bahrain Grand Prix,
or just absolutely down the drain. One of the two, and that's pretty much only the option.
No! No! No!
So let's talk about Ferrari's most recent victim, and that is Carlos Sainz. Ferrari is pretty much every single Formula 1 driver's dreams, and for it to be crushed just like that for Carlos Sainz is so sad. It's not being crushed because of his poor performances. His performances have been, well, good. Sometimes better than Leclerc, sometimes tiny bit worse. But let's not forget, he was the only non-Red Bull driver to win a race last year. So why is he getting dropped? And he's being dropped for someone who is 85 years old, walks around in a walking stick, sometimes even a wheelchair. And this is the same person who can't stop himself from qualifying P18. not even getting out of Q1, and that's the person who's replacing Carlos Sainz. Kind of crazy to think about. Being real, Carlos Sainz's starts to Formula 1 seasons have never been the greatest, especially in Ferrari, but 2024 is where it all changed, because what's the worst that could happen? He's gonna send it literally every race, every corner, every quali session, because genuinely, what's the worst that could happen? Getting dropped? Oh wait, he's already been dropped, so yeah. He has a stonking start to the season, a podium in his first race. Wow, second race comes along, surely he can emulate that. But he bleeds out, nearly dies, and then the next race in Australia gets his final redemption and wins the race because of someone's certain car decided to blow up. Was it on merit? Maybe not. But I don't see Charles Leclerc winning races in equal machinery, that is. Demon time has actually activated. You know, Carlos Sainz sometimes resembles Chuck Norris for me, because in China, in quali, he crashed his car into the wall. Chuck Norris being Chuck Norris, he'd crash his car and carry on driving. That's what Carlos did, caused a red flag and just carried on driving, carried on throughout the quali session like nothing ever happened. GOAT. Binotto the Broccoli never liked Carlos Sainz, let's be real, and always favoritized Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz acted like a sacrificial lamb on multiple times in 2022, until Silverstone came along where he said, nah, I've had enough, I'm winning a race, and fair enough, because he did. Before Binotto can dismiss Carlos Sainz from the team, he gets dismissed himself, booted out of Ferrari for his poor performances, even though they did finish P2 in the constructors, which well. Vasseur steps in, and the first words he says, there is going to be no favoritism whatsoever. Charles Leclerc being Charles Leclerc and Vasseur being Vasseur, they've bonded well in Alfa Romeo. But Vasseur said, no favoritism. But yeah, no favoritism he said, but the better driver is being dropped. So I guess there might be a tad bit of favoritism, maybe? Apart from Verstappen, he's the only other driver to win a race in the last 25 races. And being real, there is literally no good seats for Carlos Sainz at all. Mercedes, that's not a good seat anymore. That's like a midfield, lower back marker team. No. Anyway, that's Ferrari's most recent victim, and I hope there won't be many more, because Ferrari somehow manages to screw everyone over. And not only their drivers, I'm talking about championship hopes. Championship hopes for the fans. 2022, I thought Ferrari got in the bag, right? No. They faked a championship and called it a day, packed their bags, and got back to Maranello. Now let me paint you a picture like Bob Ross. Close your eyes and imagine this. Imagine winning Formula 3, winning Formula 2, getting into Formula 1, slapping up your teammate, an experienced teammate in Ericsson, getting the call up to Ferrari, being in Ferrari in 2019. Winning 2 races back-to-back, and then the third one you get scammed by your own teammate.
Charles Leclerc wins a Formula 1 Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc has coped brilliantly. He won in Spa. He wins in Monza.
Surely with this trajectory, next season should be a championship contender. You should be maybe battling for more wins. The championship, more poles. The championship, maybe. It's your time to shine in Formula 1. Go for glory. But that is until you have a literal broccoli as a team principal in Mattia Binotto. That's what Charles Leclerc did, and that's what happened to Charles Leclerc. Now, although Charles Leclerc is still in Ferrari and hasn't left and won't leave for a significant while, to say that he hasn't been screwed over on more than one occasion, I'd be lying, and I'd deserve to be shot for that. 2019 was an interesting season in Ferrari. On one side, you had a young buck in Charles Leclerc. On the other, experienced Sebastian Vettel, who was... we'll get to him later. Their car in 2019 was a regular car, but aside from the fact that they had a literal NASA rocket ship strapped to the back. You see the rocket ship coming out the back? The big flames? Yeah, that's what happened in 2019. And no, they didn't win the championship then, which I guess would have been kind of cool, but no, they didn't. But the trajectory was there. Trajectory was going up for Charles Leclerc until it hit 2020, where the car went plummeting downhill. Not only did it finish 6th in the Constructors' Championship, it was literally the polar opposite of a rocket ship. Some maybe would compare it to a snail, or some would compare it to the Alpine of this year. Ferrari is being sabotaged by their own team, by literal clowns controlling strategy. This, that, the other, tyre choices, weather, everything. So let's compare Charles' face in Ferrari in 2019 compared to his frown that really did turn upside down in 2020. But no worries, as Ferrari's catchphrase usually goes, next year will be our year. 2020 might have been a bad year, but surely next year will be our year, right? Right. Well, in 2021, there was a massive championship battle. Was Ferrari in it? No. But we all know what happened in Abu Dhabi, right? So let's not forget that. There was a Ferrari on the podium, but that really didn't matter when something else happened, something else a bit bigger. 2022 rocks around and Charles Leclerc and Ferrari, they fake a championship battle at the start. They get my expectations so high to the sky that I thought it's actually Ferrari's year. It's actually happening. New rules and regulations, Ferrari have finally got it right. Free championship after Bahrain and Australia, no shot. No shot that Max Verstappen catches them. And honestly, there was no shot because after Australia, Charles Leclerc was clear, but that was very, very short-lived, wasn't it? Charles Leclerc and Ferrari and the strategy and everything around Ferrari literally peaked in the first couple races of the season. But ever since, no. A combination of Charles Leclerc being Charles Leclerc and sometimes waving hello to the wall and smacking it as like, just what's up, man. A dabble of Mattia Binotto's idiocy and another huge, big, massive dabble of the Ferrari strategy department. Monaco is a highlight, but I guess for Charles Leclerc that was a pretty low point, starting on pole position and somehow managing to finish 4th, not even on the podium. And for the next couple seasons, Charles Leclerc and Ferrari have offered him a literal potato as a car. Zero aerodynamics, pretty poor car, not competing with the Red Bulls, it's nothing special. Alonso spent a grand total of 5 years in Ferrari, and in the same 5 years, this happened. So you might be asking, or you might not be asking, how many championships did Alonso win in Ferrari? Well, I guess it's kind of obvious, right? He won the same amount of championships as Alpine has points this year. 0. In the time he spent at Ferrari, he was given 2 moderately alright cars and 3 potatoes. And on the 2 cars he had, well, they were good, they were alright cars, finished 3rd in the constructors, but Alonso being Alonso, pulling out all of his magic, somehow managed to scramble himself to a championship fight. And well, it was very close, closer than 2021 maybe. On both occasions, he was less than 10 points off the championship trophy, which I guess he was holding it by one arm, and the other one he was wiping down his tears because he lost both of them. Now, is this a dabble of Ferrari being Ferrari? Well, yes, because all of the cars were quite bad. It's just Alonso doing his magic which made it look or seem better. Just like the Aston Martin, realistically, is not the greatest of cars, but Alonso somehow manages to do it. I don't know how, don't ask me, ask him. Or, well, you probably won't, but you know what I'm saying? This is the point where the clowns of Ferrari started to flourish. They started to take over the team. All of the resources that Ferrari has, all of the mechanics, engineers, aerodynamicists, team principals, drivers, money, everything they have. And in the 5 years that Alonso managed to be at the team, the best car they managed to produce was the 3rd best car on the grid.
What?
So, the downfall of Ferrari, it's on. Okay. But we're only talking about the first 4 seasons at this point. Surely they've had 4 seasons, second place in the drivers with Alonso, and then, well, let's just ignore the other 2. Surely 2014 can be much better. The 4 years they've learned a lot, right? Surely now they can produce an absolute dominant vehicle like they did 2001, 2, 0, 4, 3, 7. Because so far, in 2010 they produced a potato, in 2011 a carrot, in 2013 a piece of broccoli, and in 2014 a piece of spinach. 2014 though will be our year. Or that's what Alonso probably thought in his head, but the second he strapped himself into the car, he found out it was more of a boat than Noah's Ark. Drumroll please. Ta-da! This singular car stopped Ferrari from scoring wins and podiums week in and week out, and struggled to even get in the points on some occasions. This car made Alonso question everything he had done in the past, question Ferrari, absolutely disrespect them to the media. This car also fired so many team principals and just caused a big havoc in Ferrari. So at the end of that season, Alonso decides to leave in hopes of another team being able to provide him with an actual good car. And then he ends up in the 2016 McLaren. Vettel's time at Ferrari can only be described by one word. Awful. Drivers go to Ferrari to win a championship, right? And not to be breaking down. What the fuck? Well, with Alonso's departure and Vettel being absolutely bodied into the ground by Daniel Ricciardo in 2014, shame Daniel Ricciardo can't put up some good performances this year. And Yuki Tsunoda is doing some bodily damage to him and his reputation and his career and everything, his name, so on and so forth. Well, now it's Vettel's turn in Ferrari, and he was in there for a total of 6 years. Well, this is what they managed to produce. 2015, trash. 2016, trash. 2017, trash. 2018, 2019, an illegal rocket ship. 2020, a slow snail. Done. Vettel's time at Ferrari was sprinkled in with some drama, Italian drama. And not the Leonardo DiCaprio type, I'm talking genuine drama, chaos, bad chaos. Also some sprinkles of Sebastian Vettel breaking the cars like someone's breaking some spaghetti in half, which is never good because the Italians will be mad, and they were mad every time a broken Sebastian Vettel car was brought into the garage, and they had to fix it, and that took time and energy and money. In those 6 years, not only was Vettel losing his mind at Ferrari, but Ferrari themselves were losing faith in Vettel to be able to win a championship. And I guess that was fair enough when it came to 2019 and 2020, where he got dominated by a very, very younger driver in Charles Leclerc. When he arrived at Ferrari, he was absolutely dripping out the wazoo. But, as it happens on many, many, many occasions, when he left, well, he looked like he's just come out of a homeless shelter. And yet again, Sebastian Vettel, another great driver who crumbled under Ferrari. Just like in the parable of the Deathly Hallows in Harry Potter, death takes the 3 brothers, right? It's the same how Ferrari takes good drivers and absolutely ruins their careers, shreds them to pieces. Literally the same, no difference. So now that sparks the question, why do people even want to join the Ferrari family, knowing that 9 times out of 10, they're going to be fucked over and their career is going to be in the bin when they leave? Why do they join? Well, not only is Ferrari the most accomplished team in Formula 1, but that will change when Verstappen ends his career because he's going to be on 755 wins, 17 world championships, and so on and so forth, every single record there is to own. But that one driver who restores the Ferrari glory and wins a championship honestly will be remembered in history forever. The glory that will come with it is unmatched. And for whoever who does it, fair play, because many have tried and many have failed. Hamilton and his walking stick, will he be able to do it? I don't know, tell me down in the comments whilst you're there, like and subscribe, I don't know why you wouldn't. Help me on our journey to create some great content in the future, because I have some crazy ideas that will come at the end of the year. But you have to subscribe, because I need you to subscribe. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you did not. I hope you enjoyed the video, right? Yeah. Anyway, peace.